Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of UVCE Chronicles. Today, we have with us a very special guest, Mr. V Ramakrishna, sir. Welcome to the show, sir.
Thank you.
And for those of you guys who don't know him, he has worked with the Central Electricity Authority for over 4 decades and has been an integral member of Central Electricity Authority. And also, he has been an assistant director there for almost 3 decades. And he has been at Director General at Central Power Research Institute and been an technical advisor for various private firms like JSW Energies, JSW Power, Jindal Power Institutions, and CES Consulting. It's a great pleasure to have you here. In UVC Chronicles, we believe in the power of self-introduction. So, could you please give us a brief introduction about yourself?
I am V Ramakrishna. I am a graduate of electrical engineering from the 1970 batch of UVCE. Subsequent to my graduation, I cleared the engineering service examination conducted by the Union Public Service Commission, and I was allotted the Ministry of Power. And under the Ministry of Power, there is a technical organization called the Central Electricity Authority, and I was posted in Central Electricity Authority. The initial designation itself was assistant director, but basically that was the office, but equivalent designation would be in electricity board as assistant executive engineer level. I rose up in my career from assistant director, deputy director, then chief engineer. And at the time of my superannuation, I retired as member in the power system wing of CEA. So responsible for overall development of the transmission network in the country. This roughly the background. Of course, post my superannuation, because of my background, I've been advising many of the public sector undertakings as well as the power developers on various issues relating to transmission system planning, regulatory issues, and grid operation issues. I've also headed various committees and grid disturbances. The last one being a member of the high-level inquiry committee into grid disturbance in Mumbai in 2020. Earlier to that, I was appointed the chairman of the task force into the grid disturbance, all India grid disturbance of 2012, and to recommend measures to avoid such kind of abnormal trippings in the grid. So that's a post-retirement also, the government India appointed me as the chairman of the task force. So this is roughly my brief background.
So, could you tell us your journey from being a student at UVC to an assistant director at Central Electricity Authority?
Well, any days as a student, when we look back, we were quite, though of course the education part of it is also important, but your student life, we have a lot of friends, a lot of activities. We used to, we had of course 6 hours of classes, 3 sessions of 3 hours daily, starting from 7:15. I don't know if it still continues like that. So in between we used to have some spare periods, and we used to play basketball in the courts. I don't know if it still exists now. So it's just next to the canteen it was those days.
The canteen back then.
We had a small canteen cafeteria at that time, and right next to that was this court. And also we used to have where you are presently, that conference room is there on the first floor, the entrance. It used to be a games room, and we used to have table tennis table there, and also we used to play chess in those areas. So those were all the fun times we used to have during the college days. Post my graduation in 70, the economy was not so good, so there was quite a difficulty in getting jobs subsequently. So most of my colleagues also have similar problems, except the few who got some jobs initially. So we did initial time as under trading under Government of India scheme. For 1 year it was given to most of the graduates. In the meantime, fortunately, one of my neighbors was a senior to me, 68 batch, one Mr. Balraman. He had qualified for the engineering services, and he strongly encouraged me to write the engineering service examination. And to help me in preparation, I moved to Delhi, where my sister was staying at that time. and with help from many other people. So I could prepare for the engineering service examination in 1971. But then, the Government of India procedures for employment is very long, with procedures of selection being long. So it took almost a year after I wrote my examination to get the appointment order. So in 1972, I joined Central Electricity Authority as Assistant Director. I was allotted to the Ministry of Power by the Union Public Service Commission. And the ministry has a technical body known as the Central Electricity Authority. It's a statutory body under the Act, Electricity Act 2000. Electricity Act earlier, but even continues under present Act of 2003. So this Central Electricity Authority is the primary advisory body to the Ministry of Power on all matters relating to development of power, on planning, from load forecasting to execution of projects, and various other technical standards and monitoring of various projects. So many issues, all engineering issues related to power sector were being done by CEA. CEA has also a very strong consultancy group. So we had initially most of the engineering projects, whether it's hydro or thermal, the engineering consultancy to the project was being given by CEA, including preparation of specifications, scrutiny of this thing, and monitoring of projects, helping. And many of our people were going to the project sites on reputation basis to help the project authorities to implement the plan. Many of the central sector projects like Barasul, Badarpur, Salal, Siul, so many other projects were executed by the engineers of CEA. We have also executed projects in other countries like Nepal, Bhutan, and all. So many of our engineers were involved in those projects earlier. So subsequent to 2003 Act, the role of CEA was somewhat reduced, and therefore presently our people are not so actively involved in it. Of course, some people are still going on deputation on a personal basis, but otherwise as an institution we are not. CEA originally was a very large, broad umbrella kind of organization, including the presently Central Power Research Institute, National Thermal Power Training Institute, all are the part of CEA only. There later, many of the organizations were independently taken out of CEA and made independent organizations like CPRI and PTI and so many other organizations, including organizations like NTPC and Power Grid. All those functions were being done by CEA. So now the projects, the economy getting larger and the need for specialized organization, new organizations are composed, splitting out of CEA. Many of our people joined those organizations and thriving there. Of course, the kind of education we had in CEA, though it was very satisfactory those days, but when we went and joined the profession, we found that our understanding of this industry as such was very minimal. Just with academic background to work in a professional organization delivering professional services, initially we found it quite difficult. So in fact, on the day I joined, I was asked to go to the mainframe computer center at the Delhi University, IBM computer, though we didn't even know what a computer was, to be exact. So this kind of, I think, I don't know whether the present curriculum is improved substantially, that in some part of the industry's concerns are taken care of. I'm not too sure, but otherwise it's the right time to amend or modify, revise the curriculum so that the students get a little more exposure to the industry. So after joining CEA in 1972, I was posted in the Power System Planning Group, and most of my career was in the power system planning. Of course, I have also worked in the areas of generation planning, in the areas of grid management, in the areas of development and management of the data acquisition and monitoring system and grid operation. I have also done partly a small work on CPRI at DG, but it was a very short tenure for me at CPRI. It's an additional assignment given to me in addition to the posting at member. So I could not have much contribution to CPRI, but I was a part of the CPRI standing committee, R&D and all these things. So I was involved for almost a decade with development of CPRI facilities, including all testing and research facilities there. This is what I could say. Of course, my professional career has been very, very satisfying. So I started in the transmission planning group when the country was in the initial stages. We didn't have even state level grids. There were even big states like UP had even more than one grid point. So they all had to be slowly integrated over time. And it took a lot of effort and things. So we were initially involved in the planning of development of the state grid, cutting across and connecting states to make the regional grid, then regional grid operation, then development of all India grid first through asynchronous link, that is HVDC back-to-back links within various regions, then ultimately a strong synchronous grid. I had a very contributory role in development right from the initial stage because I was involved right from the country at 130 kV and 220 kV levels up to 800 kV transmission system development. So I feel that my contribution to development of an all India is one country, one grid has been substantial right from the initial stage up to almost the implementation when I superannuated from my organization, except the southern region which was connected to HVDC link from Talcher to Kola. The rest of the country was one grid. Of course, we had planned for interconnection with southern region also to a 760 kV line from Raichur to Sholapur. And that was implemented in 2012, and since 2012 we are operating in one synchronous grid.
So, what advice would you give to a students, like from the UVC students who want to pursue, career in public sector?
See, there is substantial scope for engineers to contribute and develop the country's economy and the power sector, and also in a way it helps you to develop also as a good engineer and a more capable engineer. There are several organizations like NTPC, Power Grid, Grid India, NHPC, CPRI. They are all providing substantial professional, highly accomplished professional services. I mean, you can compare them to any international organization. In fact, India's Power Grid is one of the largest in the world today. In terms of the grid connection, in terms of the transmission system that is there. We are having system right from 66 kV transmission going up to 800 kV transmission. I can't give you the numbers. These can be seen from the website of CEA. You can know what are the lengths of transmission, substation capacity, install capacity, load met, and all the issues. But it is one of the largest grids in the world, and we are managing it quite efficiently in the last almost 10-12 years without any major grid disturbance in the country. There are, network and the capacity has been developed, but there is a lot of scope for optimization. Optimization in terms of how to use the existing facilities, much more efficiently. How to optimize on the economies of scale. How to optimize on the production cost. How to reduce the cost of electricity. How to integrate the renewables into the grid. So many issues are there, and also new technologies. How to see even the solar that are coming. Efficiency of the solar panels have increased substantially over the years. So this could have been, one of the projects for CPRI is to develop. They have got a good materials lab, so they can develop materials which could increase the efficiency of solar absorption and increasing the capacity from the same solar size of the solar panels. So there are, and also optimization of various parameters, development of so many other issues to keep the grid safely. There are equipment like the PMUs which give the status of the grid at the microsecond level, and those data can be tapped, and we can develop applications to predict the stability of the grid and take preventive measures. So there are scope for various areas of technology where anybody joining the power sector. Because nowadays, in the recent past, at least most of the engineers, electrical, mechanical, or civil, they're all getting into this IT sector, doing coding, which is very far away from the engineering they learned. I think there is scope for implementation of the whatever electrical engineering one has learned during the academic area into the power sector. The power sector is going in leaps and bounds. In some of the areas like Gujarat and Rajasthan, the Kutch area and Rajasthan, Jaisalmer, Bikaner and all that, they are putting up solar power capacity of 40,000 megawatts. That is more than the capacity that we had when I joined service in the country. So, and that is all coming in just 3-4 years' time. So between Gujarat and Rajasthan, we are going to add 80,000 megawatt of capacity. and to evacuate that power into the grid in right time, because the gestation period of solar is very, very small, less than a year, whereas the transmission system takes 2 to 3 years, even if you do it very efficiently, because it is a cross-country development. You have to take so many approvals and clearances from various organizations, obtaining rights of way in civil in areas, agricultural land which are personally, privately owned. So the issues are very, very interesting. And also, what kind of manufacturing facilities are there available for equipment manufacturers to supply to this substation capacity being put up at various locations. So it's very, very challenging task, and it's very, very, very difficult. And definitely, I know the kind of the equipment manufacturing sector we have, including imports. It would be a very, very challenging task to meet the commissioning of the solar projects vis-a-vis development of transmission facilities and the distribution facilities. So in every area, there is scope for optimization and further development, especially in the areas of distribution, where you should improve the quality of supply, reliability of supply, and optimization of the existing facilities in a more efficient manner. There are so many technologies available to utilize the existing facilities more efficiently by like series compensation, flexible AC transmission system, STATCOMs. So many other things are available, phase shifting transformers, voltage boosters. So one can use your academic background to go into these areas and develop them, so that ultimately the power sector in the country becomes more efficient and more reliable. There's a huge scope in public sector.
So you have been, advisor for various firms, right? What is
Yeah.
the role of an advisor in that firm? We all know what does an engineer does, right? Like, what is the role of an advisor?
See, it is basically to to impart the knowledge I have gained over the years in Central Electricity Authority with a broad exposure to the development of the whole country, planning and operation, and also regulatory issues. So, if they face any issues of either planning or issues regarding regulation, how to overcome them, how to address the right way the technical issues involved, how to optimally utilize the existing facilities, where to plan the new facilities, how it should be done, and how your petition to the regulatory commission should be framed in consultation with the various legal people to address and seek remedies for the problems that one is facing. So when it is just drawing upon my experience over the years and my exposure to the sector which is now large number of years, that I can contribute to this and that basis. Even now I am advising the Maharashtra district DISCOM, because Maharashtra government is sort of commissioning about 15,000 megawatt of distributed solar at 11 and 33 kV. Now, once the transmission planning and the distribution planning has always been, from the high voltage to the lower voltage. Now, commissioning of this 16,000 megawatt at the lower voltage, what way the network flow patterns will change, where the system has to be strengthened, and what are the other issues to be addressed, including the relay coordination issues and production analysis issues, and the integration of renewables into the grid. The renewables, especially the solar, is available only for a specific period of time when the sun is shining, from morning maybe 6 a.m. to evening 5-6 p.m. But beyond that, what happens? How to meet the load demands? And because the renewables are coming, we are reducing the commissioning of the conventional generation like the thermal and hydro or other gas-based stations and all that. So there could be a gap between the generation available on grid with the load, and how to bridge the gap with respect of the ramping of your generation to meet the loads and meet the frequency standards. So there are so many technical issues involved. So somebody has to look at them in a holistic manner and advise them, because distribution people will be looking at distribution planning. They may not have much access and knowledge about transmission system or grid operation issues. So they need an expertise who has got a much holistic experience in all these matters. And that's how my role comes into play. I am also advising the Maharashtra transmission company to develop the transmission system with renewables and how to integrate with the existing system in a very more efficient manner and in a timely manner through going in for competitive bidding for private participation and all that. So there are number of areas where the DISCOMs and present utilities would need some expert advice, and that's where my role comes in. I have also been in the advisory committee of the Karnataka Electricity Regulatory Commission for 6 years. During that period also, along with Dr. B.G. Rudrapai, ex-chairman of Karnataka, I was involved in framing of the grid code and also guidelines for safety of operation of the distribution systems. So many technical issues where the regulatory commission wanted our input, we have given them. Of course, that was basically an honorarium job. It was no money involved in that.
So, do you, as we are talking about renewable energies, do you foresee a future where 100% of all of our electricity is delivered through the renewable energies like windmills, solar power plants?
Maybe that's the aim, but to see the stability of the power sector, large grid like India, there is a need for for during any grid disturbance, the grids to be able to withstand and continue to work efficiently. For that, you need substantial moment of inertia in the grid. That is stored energy which will come into the grid. So all these rotating masses, the hydro generator, thermal generator, do provide that kind of a stored energy back into the grid when there is a grid disturbance. Solar is a passive element. It doesn't contribute to grid stability. It only provides you megawatt and little MVR. And of course, the wind does provide, but I don't think that we can survive purely on this renewable energy unless supported by storage capacity, because the renewables don't work 24/7, but the power is needed in the grid 24/7. Yeah, so we must plan the sector in such a way that the energy requirement throughout the 24/7 period is met in terms of megawatt and renewable energy. And therefore, to rely on solar only and an unpredictable wind to meet the grid without any storage. And the storage cannot come purely in terms of battery alone, because the quantum of capacity needed in a large grid, which is 3,000 megawatt of connected load now, and it may go much more in times to come, would be very difficult. Therefore, we need hydro kind of storages. And they are also not, the potential, renewable potential that you can keep adding storage hydro to any amount you want. It can only be available in the Western Ghats or states like Maharashtra, Karnataka, or some other states where hydro, like Tamil Nadu and all the potential is. But many states don't have hydro potential at all. So in those states, storage capacity is not available at all. So it is a very challenging task with the present technology as available today. I don't think we can cater to the whole load of the country purely on renewable basis. We need a strong support from the conventional energy storage devices. If not, at least lot of synchronous condenser to provide the stored energy to meet the system requirement under any faulted conditions. So we have to develop well into depth into all these things by doing a lot of simulations. But this is my gut feeling as I see it today and my experience over the years planning and operating.
Do you have any person that inspires you the most, or a quote which you would like to say?
Many people who come across in a professional career, they sort of mentor you, encourage you to develop yourself. Fortunately, I've had such people in my career. One, Mr. Venkatraman, when I joined the organization, was my director at that time, and later he went and joined the Asian Development Bank as an expert. And later I had the privilege of working on Pillai, who was later the Director General of CPRI and the Chairman of the Kerala Regulatory Commission. So they inspired me and mentored me to become a better professional in my career. And of course, there are so many colleagues of yours. I have come across many colleagues of mine, very intelligent and brilliant engineers, who helped me in various times, giving a lot of inputs at the right time and course correct you when you're doing some work. So it is difficult to list out the people who have influenced your career and your personal life. So many of them are there, of course, without whom you can't develop into a good engineer. During our college also we had very good engineer professors and teachers. We had one Dr. Keshav Rao who was teaching us electrical machines. One Mr. Bhaskar Rao was teaching us on circuits. And Mr. Bhaskar Raju, I remember them all very well, who were teaching us in 4th and 5th year. One Mr. Krishnappa who was teaching us on instrumentation and other things. So a lot of our teachers have groomed us and helped us to become better engineers and professionals in our life.
Yeah, I think I would like to conclude it with that note. So, a heartfelt thank you for coming to our show and telling your experience, giving us valuable insights on the industries, and etc. And yeah, it's a great privilege to have you, sir, today. I think people will listen to this podcast will have a great time listening to it, and get an insight to the industry and how it works, and will probably get inspired to build, be a better engineer and build a power grids in India, and work towards that revolution of renewable energies. So yeah, it's been a great privilege, and thank you again for joining.
Yeah, thank you very much. You see, whatever I have said was to, in nutshell, put across what I have been able to do in my career. It is not to project myself as some exceptional engineer or anything like that. And since you asked the question and I had to answer in an honest manner, I have put across that what are the things that I could achieve during my professional career, and in what way I think we could do better in the power sector for our country. It is nothing to be sort of boasting myself or anything like that. So when somebody who is listening shouldn't feel. So I just want to put it across that just my personal experience in the sector over the years, more than 5 decades.
There is a saying that if it is true, then it's not bragging. What you have achieved is what you have done, right? So it's not bragging. I don't think students will think like that. Yeah, achieved a lot.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you for giving me an opportunity to present my view on the power sector to the engineering graduates and my alumni from the college. Thank you.